In 2014, James and Amy met via the glamorous and sophisticated dating website Plenty of Fish. James was instantly taken in by Amy's massive beauty, but he also found her utterly compelling. Someone totally different to all the other ladies out there. Someone who sounded more like a dude than a dudette. But this didn't deter James. In fact, he was desperate to know more, desperate to understand what made this stunner tick. They had their first date on the waterfront in Bristol, and since then they have been an unstoppable force. But it wasn't long before James started to smell something fishy. Something that meant James questioned everything he thought he knew about this beautiful blonde goddess. This is James's story. A story about intrigue, questions, and downright confusion from a man in the peak of his physical form. This is a James Harding investigation.
So this is really difficult for me because I've never told this story before. I honestly don't really know where to start.
Why don't you start by telling us a bit about yourself?
Okay, my name's James. I'm 36 years old.
Wait. Aren't you 43?
So I would describe myself as an Olympian, a hero, a man's man, the sort of guy that would lead men into war. Pretty heavy weights, huh? No, don't. You know, when people used to describe me, they would describe me as having strength, power, virility. You can have down. I got down. I was that type of guy. So I've always been the sort of guy that, you know, people would lean on to get things done. Bit of a handyman, you know. If someone had an odd job, they'd call James. And that was all great. Until I met her. Amy Wayman, the most beautiful, talented woman I could have ever laid my eyes on. When I first met Amy, she was everything a man could have ever dreamt of. She was elegant, graceful, the kind of woman that floats through life in a cloud of elegance and sophistication. But then things started to change. Slowly, subtly, I started to question everything I thought I knew.
When did you first become suspicious?
When did I first become suspicious? It was a simple DIY project at home. It was a broken shelf. I thought this was my moment. I could finally be a man. I could show Amy my true colours. But before I could even pick up a screwdriver, she was already pre-drilling holes, whatever that means, and doing something called raw plugging. Pretty sure she made that up to impress me. But what I was surprised with, it was done, it was fixed, suspiciously quickly. At first, I brushed it off. I thought, you know, maybe Amy just had a simple talent for some basic DIY. But then came the garden, and this really did change everything. This was when I started to question what might be below, if you know what I'm saying.
Wait, how long had you been together at this point?
I would say around 2 years.
Without being crude, if you expected her to be, shall I say, not a lady, wouldn't you have spotted this by now?
Oh, I see. So you've assumed that we've been naked together. That's what I'm getting from you. Well, you see, the thing you have to know is Amy is incredibly shy, and I come from a heavy Christian background. Praise the Lord! So we won't be doing anything like that until we are formally bonded by marriage, at which point I shall then be able to say, Hallelujah!
I remember the first time that I met Amy. She walked in and I thought, wow, James has really lucked out here. She was beautiful, gorgeous, power dressed. She looked amazing. We sat down for dinner And then she started mending the radiator halfway through the meal, in heels. I mean, who does that? And I'm not saying that Amy is a man, but she does have a suspicious mastery over power tools. James has always been the type of person to muddle through, bless him. But Amy, she's something else. She's got power, knowledge, power tools. She can fix things that I didn't even know were broken. At this rate, she's almost a National Trust asset.
So back to the garden incident. What was it about the garden that changed everything?
Okay, yeah, so I should probably explain. So we hadn't long moved into our new home and we're having a romantic fire pit. Everything's quite sort of basic in the garden, and Amy says to me, I'd quite like to do something in the garden. I thought, great. You know, maybe she'll pot some plants and put up some fairy lights. Well, the next morning I wake up and I'm sipping my coffee and I hear the beeping of a large truck reversing down our driveway. I peek out the window and lo and behold, there's tons of concrete being delivered and over 400 concrete blocks. Now, before I could even react or finish my coffee, Amy's in her dungarees, she's got a wheelbarrow, and she's starting to lob it from one end to the other into the garden. So Amy's, midway through sifting through all this concrete blocks, and I pulled her to one side and I did what any sort of normal guy would do. And in this situation, I said, Amy, the actual fuck are you doing? She smiled at me and she said, well, I'm bringing all this in and then I'll start to dig trenches and build foundations and lay block work and do carpentry. So it was at this point that my little fella decided that he was going to now live inside me. I was no longer the man of the house, and I realized that I now needed to be subservient to Amy. So I thought to myself, James, mate, could it be that the woman you're about to marry could actually be a man? It was the little things, the way she handled a wrench, her understanding of torque ratios, how she knew more about boilers than any normal woman should. So I started digging into her past. But the more I searched, the more questions I had. How could she possibly be this good at everything? Was it witchcraft, sorcery, or something more dangling? The evidence was overwhelming. She knew too much. She was too handy, too skilled, too manly. So I did what any reasonable man would do. I confronted her. Amy, I said, be honest with me. Are you really a man? She looked at me and she smiled and she said,
No, James, I'm just competent.
This was the moment when I realized this woman, this goddess, this DIY deity was entirely out of my league. Here's a person who can rewire a house, build a garden wall without breaking into a sweat, and make even the most complex IKEA pieces look like child's play. In short, she is truly remarkable. And somehow she decided to marry me. Standing here now, I'm not ashamed to say I feel humbled. I may never understand the mysteries of Amy's many talents, and I won't pretend I can match them. But one thing's clear, I've absolutely hit the jackpot. Amy may not be a man, at least not that I can prove, but she is the most capable, brilliant, and beautiful woman I've ever known. She's my best friend, the one person who just gets me completely. To be honest, I never thought marriage was on the cards. When I first met Amy, I wasn't sure we'd get on. But it didn't take me long to realize that I met someone truly special. Someone who isn't just my equal, but if I'm honest, probably a few notches above. To have someone in my life I can bounce off, share with, lean on, and let's be honest, fancy the hell out of, well, that's all anyone could ask for. So to my wife, my best friend, my one and only, thank you for choosing me. I love you, Amy, so very much, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. To Amy. I can't end this video without mentioning some really, really important people to Amy and I. I'll start with my awesome groomsmen. You're all very special to me, and the experience wouldn't have been the same without you. My stag was referred to as the most civilized stag any of you have ever been on, but I loved every second, and I love spending it with you all. The only thing I would say is if you could all learn how to send a text message within like a 4-week period, that would be handy. But other than that, you were great. To our amazing bridesmaids, I have to assume that you all look beautiful because this is pre-recorded, but I know you will. It's a given. But more importantly, you're all beautiful people inside, and that's why Amy and I hold you so close and near. We both love all of you, and thank you so much for being part of our special day, and that goes for my boys as well. A little shout out to Anna and Ben for making trips from Australia and New Zealand to be here today. Amazing. I can tell you right now I wouldn't do it for you, so thanks. I'm only joking. We love you both very much, and thank you so much for putting the effort in to be here. It really does mean the world. Sadly, we both have missing pops today. But on the plus side, Rob, you did an absolutely amazing job giving Amy away, and I know it meant the absolute world to her, and it means the absolute world to me. And I also know that my dad will absolutely be looking down on us today, and I would imagine he'd be saying something along the lines of, "Cool, did you see the tits on that?" God bless you, Pops. Miss you. Thank you all so much for coming. You've been handpicked from a select crew of people, and you're all very special to us. And this day really, really will last in our memories forever. I'd like to thank Uncle Paul, the flowers. Now, technically, at the time of recording, I haven't seen them, but I know from the discussions we've had how incredible they'll look and how much love and care you would have put into them. Amy and I love you dearly, so thank you so, so much. I can't wait to see them on the day. And finally, to my two mamas. Annette, I'm so lucky to have you as a mother-in-law, and I'm so lucky that you're not the sort that tries to control me and dictate every single thing I do. Oh, sorry, one sec, the phone's going. Hi, Annette? Yeah, no, I'm kind of, you want me to change everything? The whole script, you're not happy with it? Okay, yeah, okay, I'll change it all and send it through to you, okay? Excellent. Love you, mama number 2. And to my wonderful mama number 1, Juju, my mama. You're an inspiration to us all, and I'm so lucky and fortunate to have you in my life. You have always put Charlotte and I first, regardless of the suffering to yourself, and we both love you very, very much for it. I will be asking for a cuddle after this, so you better get yourself ready. But thank you so much for being here and being part of our day. So guys, that's it. I've finally finished. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Hopefully I'm not too drunk. And actually, the version of me that's at the wedding, you can thank me because you haven't got to say anything. You can drink whilst I got to sit here and act and read lines. So you better be thanking me there, boy. Anyway, have an amazing time, guys. I love you all. We're married. Whee!